Wow, you covered a lot of ground really quickly. I don't have a lot of time to make this video. Um, so basically, what I'm going to do is just try to understand your position. Okay? Basically, what I think you're saying is that you don't support evolution, but you do believe that the Earth is billions of years old, like current science suggests. Let's say 14 billion years roughly. Okay, and then you also went on to say that we've never had examples of intermediate species. Like, I don't quite understand this part because, okay, like, let's look at humanity, for example. I'm not going to pronounce all these right because I'm not an evolutionary biology major, but I want to say Lucy was Australopithecus. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I apologize if I did mispronounce it. Um, and then after that, I think we have Australopithecus robustus, although I don't think we're related to that one. I think that was an evolutionary dead end. And then we go on to Handyman, Ergaster, I believe is the name. And then after Ergaster, I think there was a split into Cro-Magnon and Neanderthals. Neanderthals, we killed off. I mean, there's pretty good evidence of that. They found flint like spearheads and arrowheads inside the skulls of Neanderthals. So either we interbred with them, which is highly controversial, or we just plain outright killed them off, outcompeted for resources. But Neanderthals is, I mean, we even can trace back their mitochondrial DNA. Okay? So we're sure they were a separate species. In some ways, they were actually superior to us as far as what we believe based on forensic evidence about their skulls. They had larger brain capacities, they probably had better memories, but they weren't as inventive as we were. That's something, well, anyways, I'm not going to go too deep into that because I think it'll get off track. What I'm trying to say is, and then after, okay, we go Homo erectus, Cro-Magnon. Cro-Magnon killed off Neanderthals, and then we come into modern man, Homo sapiens. Okay, so there's a lot of stages there. Now, do we see the actual transitions, like between those? I mean, well, you got to understand the fossil record is not like a tape recorder. I mean, we find skeletons. We're finding new ones all the times. In fact, they recently found the transition between fins in amphibians to legs. They found one of the intermediate species. Now, okay, after you go back, Neanderthals is like the earliest mitochondrial DNA we've been able to get, and regular DNA degenerates so quickly that we can't even trace that back 50,000 years. I think that was what Neanderthals is. You understand, I don't have all the information sitting in front of me. I'm not reading it off my screen. I'm just drawing it from my head. So I I think the gist of what I'm saying is scientifically correct, but I don't have the sources in front of me. But some of the other things you said, it just occurred to me. This book I read a few days ago, which I enjoyed because it's in it's a lot of complex ideas presented in layman's terms, and it has a certain appeal to me because it's easily understandable. So I'm just going to read some random quotes out of here. It's not an advertisement for the book, but he covers a lot of the things that ID's intelligent designs, their concepts, okay? And he offers corollaries between what ID's concepts and what science actually states in these different fields. And I'm going to start off, I'm going to kind of work back and forth and try to address things in the manner that you presented them, although I'm not going to be flawless here. Okay, you mentioned all the DNA, how it's so complex and everything. Okay, well, basically, how I interpreted that is you're arguing irreducible complexity. So I'm going to take a quote from this David Mills book, and I think he puts it better than I could on the spur of the moment. The intricate double helix structure of DNA was finally unraveled in 1953 by the brilliant work of Francis Crick and James Watson. For their historic discovery, Crick and Watson were awarded the 1962 Nobel Prize in Physiology because ID, intelligent design, is incessantly pointing to the structure of DNA as evidence of intelligent design, even though the first cells contain no DNA. Let's hear what Crick and Watson themselves have to say about this matter. If revealed religions have revealed anything, it is that they are usually wrong. A knowledge of the true age of the earth and of the fossil record makes it impossible for any balanced intellect to believe in the literal truth of every part of the Bible in the way that fundamentalists do. And if some of the Bible is manifestly wrong, why should any of the rest of it be accepted automatically? That's Francis Crick in his book, How I Got Inclined Towards Atheism. From the autobiography, What Mad Pursuit. Okay, today the theory of evolution is an accepted fact for everyone but a fundamentalist minority, whose objections are based not on reasoning but on doctrinaire adherence to religious principles. The luckiest thing that ever happened to me was that my father didn't believe in God, and so he had no hang-ups about souls. I see ourselves as products of evolution, which is itself a great mystery. James Watson, Discover Dialogue, Reversing Bad Truths in Discover, July 2003. Okay. Okay, does it sound to you like Crick and Watson agree or disagree with ID theory on DNA? To whom should we give more credibility on the subject of DNA? The two scientists who won a Nobel Prize for its discovery, or ID pulpit pounders? Okay. And like I said, I don't know if I can address everything immediately from your reply to your post. But now I'm going to move on to intelligent designs split with creationism, because you're not like, you said you weren't a literal Bible guy, like it's not literally the truth. Okay? So, I'll address this. And I am going to quote a text here, but you guys do it with the Bible all the time, so I don't see why, I can't quote somebody else's work. If, as science tells us, the cosmos is roughly 14 billion years old and the Earth is 5 billion years old, then Earth is only about 1/3 of the age of the universe as a whole, generally speaking. By analogy, a football game is 60 minutes of playing time. 2/3 of that time, or the game's first 40 minutes, would represent the time the cosmos existed before Earth formed. Would it be fair to claim that a touchdown scored during the game's 40th minute, or 5 minutes before the start of the fourth quarter, was scored in the beginning of the game? I don't think that any reasonable person could truthfully answer yes to this question. Neither can anyone honestly assert that the 14-billion-year-old heavens and 5-billion-year-old Earth were both created together in the beginning, as Genesis 1:1 declares. The point here is twofold. Genesis 1:1 is in error, and two, by recognizing this error and rejecting even the opening verses of the Bible, the ID cult has forsaken traditional Bible-based Christianity. For 20 years, Christianity taught that God created the heavens, the earth, and all of Earth's life forms during the 6 literal days of Creation Week. Anyone who doubted this truth was labeled as a heretic and genuinely risked being tortured or executed by the church for heresy. Christian scholars argued that within the book of Genesis itself, God himself produced a clear and specific definition of day as used in the creation account. Here are some biblical quotes. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Genesis 1:5. And the